Honestly, I didn't think that we were going to make a recap today because the only baseball thing that happened was Yoan Moncada went to the Angels, but out of nowhere, the baseball god said, here you go, Fuzzy and his audience. Here's a beef between the former Yankee Gleyber Torres and the current GM of the Yankees, Brian Cashman. Thank you, baseball gods. We also have an update on Ippei, the former translator for Shohei Ohtani. He is going to prison. And there's still going to be people out there that delusionally think that Shohei's the bad guy. But yeah, we're going to talk about all of that and more in today's recap. And if this is your first time on the channel, do me a big favor. We're so close to 530,000 subs. Hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets on SeatGeek. And if you download Underdog Fantasy to your phone, use code Fuzzy. You get a free pick'em and up to $1,000 in bonus cash credit. You're welcome. A decision has been made. The former translator and best friend of Shohei Ohtani, Ippei Mizuhara, is going to prison for 5 years, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but again, it's 5 years and he has to pay back $17 million. That's a big time sentence. So just to recap, Ippei said that he did it. There are bank recordings of him pretending to be Shohei Ohtani, wiring himself $300,000 for a car loan. The Fed said that he did it, and ultimately he's going to prison. But some of you out there will waste your life on the internet saying that Shohei is using Ippei as a fall guy and that Shohei is the gambling addict. This might sound disrespectful, but if some of you use the time and the passion that you're wasting calling Shohei a gambling addict and you apply that to your work or your schooling, you might actually be a successful person. But instead, you waste all of your time inside being a degenerate.
Who's the fat kid talking to?
I just had to get that out as maybe a reminder. If I can save one of you from being a brain-rotted degenerate who spends their entire life arguing with others on the internet over things that don't matter, and saving one person, this rant was worth it. From a former Angel employee, Ippei, to a brand new Angel employee, Yoan Moncada. By the way, he's only 29 years old. I thought that he was a little bit older than that, but that just shows he's been in baseball for a long time. 29-year-old Moncada gets a $5 million one-year deal to go to the Angels, and if this was 2019, the Angels, even without Shohei Ohtani, might have the greatest lineup of all time. Let me explain. Back in 2019, check out these stats. Yoan Moncada hit .315 with 25 home runs and a 140 OPS plus. Tim Anderson, who just got a deal from the Angels, hit .335. He won the batting title. Anthony Rendon hit .319 with 34 home runs. Jorge Soler, who they just got from the Braves, had a whopping 48 home runs. And oh, by the way, a guy named Mike Trout had 45 home runs. It would have been one of the best offenses ever. But again, it's not 2019, it's 2025. Sticking with Moncada, a former star player, he only had 40 at-bats last year in 2024 with the White Sox, and that was in large part because, one, he was injured, and number two, this actually happened. He basically lost his job for the sake of the White Sox testing out younger players. They said, Moncada, we appreciate you, buddy, but we're going to give some playing time to other people now. But in those 40 at-bats, yes, it's a small sample size. Yoan did not chase, and he showed off the really nice exit velocities. I mean, back in 2019, he was top 2% in exit velocities. He tears covers off of baseballs when he's right. Yoan has 3 seasons of 30-plus doubles. He plays good enough defense. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a kind of utility type guy where he plays second base, which he's not very good at. He's a whole lot better at third base. But then what does that mean for Anthony Rendon? Is he going to be a DH and split DH time with Mike Trout? Because they've pretty much said that Trout, he's going to be getting more off days via the DH. So again, what does that mean for Moncada? Tim Anderson, they have Zach Neto and Luis Rengifo. There's kind of a log jam, but these aren't very expensive contracts, so I doubt they care. It kind of blows my mind that it took so long for Moncada to sign with a team. His market seemed to be dwindling by the day, and it just seems like the perception of him on and off the field is that Moncada is a me guy. I'm not going to name names, but I've heard the same exact thing through the grapevines. Again, I'm not going to name names, but they were actual teammates basically saying that Yoan, hey, he can be good, but for the most part, he's a me guy who doesn't really show a lot of passion or that he cares about the craft. Some of you are about to say, ooh, shots fired, Fuzzy versus Yoan Moncada. Well, here's some actual shots that were fired, and I don't think that it was intentional per se, but maybe it was. Brian Cashman, he had an interview with the Yes Network, and in that interview, he said that he traded for Jazz Chisholm Jr. to shore up second base defense. He traded for Jazz to be their everyday second baseman, but he revealed, and we've kind of known this, but he said it again. So he's basically hammering in the fact that Gleyber Torres is a me guy, kind of like Moncada, where he cares more about him getting his bag because, let's face it, Gleyber Torres, it kind of reminded me of the Josh Hader situation where Josh refused to come into a game for a 4-out save because he was about to be a free agent. He did not want to tank his value or ruin his arm. Maybe Gleyber thought the same thing. Hey, I'm a second baseman. I've been a decent defensive second baseman before. I know I'm the worst second baseman in baseball right now defensively, but if I go to third base, maybe I stink it up even more and my offseason free agent value completely tanks. I don't want that for me. So no, even though you traded for Jazz, he's a much better defensive second baseman. I am unwilling to go to third. That's what Brian Cashman said, that Gleyber was unwilling to put the team above himself and move to third base. Basically, in a nutshell, Brian Cashman confirmed that Gleyber was basically the Miles Morales guy from TikTok. Like he said, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Then do your own thing over there.
Nah.
You're on contract to space, dude.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Gleyber did in fact catch wind of these comments, or at least that's what everyone is thinking, that this tweet right here is implying that he is basically telling the Yankees and Brian Cashman to move on. Now, I'm seeing it both sides because, again, if Gleyber's perspective is, hey, I'm a free agent, bro, I do not want to change positions and be awful at third base and tank my value. But then again, the floor was already pretty low. He was the worst defensive second baseman, so it couldn't have gotten much worse. So I don't understand not moving to help your contender team get a little bit better. Jazz struggled at third base at first, got really good really fast, so luckily that happened. But again, Gleyber, not a great look, buddy, for him to say and imply that the Yankees should turn the page. I don't know, buddy. You didn't put the team first. That's not a great look. Now, some Yankee fans are saying, Brian, shut your mouth. We do not need Gleyber Torres on the Tigers, who could have made the ALCS had they beat the Guardians. We do not need a mad Gleyber Torres on an up-and-coming Tigers team, because the last time that Brian Cashman was kind of this candid, it was back when he traded Gio Urshela for Josh Donaldson. He said that Josh Donaldson is better than Gio Urshela. That aged like milk in the sun, and Gio Urshela was actually better in Minnesota than Donaldson ever was with the Yankees. So Brian Cashman has been known to put his foot in his mouth, but maybe this is different because he's calling out someone that he didn't trade, so there's not really a chance that he can get burned. But again, maybe Gleyber turns into a monster defender and goes off for 35 home runs. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, Yankees fans might point to this and say, you poked the bear. Why'd you do that, Brian? Cashman also sprinkled in one more thing that I caught wind of. He said that he's waiting for prices to drop in terms of the Yankees not being done in the offseason. Does that mean that he's waiting for Alex Bregman to stop being delusional and accept a 4 or 5 year deal as opposed to a 6 or 7 year deal? Maybe he's thinking that the Cardinals are asking for too much in exchange for Nolan Arenado. The Yankees, they're trying to pounce again, but they're waiting it out. And a lot of you guys have even said, see, Fuzz, this is why we don't want a free agent deadline, because GMs, they have a job to do as well. And if they can wait out a Bregman or a Cardinals franchise and really squeeze out everything that the Cardinals are worth to really minimize the damage in an Arenado trade, I mean, that's the job of a GM. And you guys seem to think that, hey, they got to do their job, and having a deadline would just make it that much harder. But then again, it would also work for the players, so that would be kind of cool. I don't really know. There's a lot of opinions on that matter. I'll leave it up to you guys in the comments. And last but not least, a lot of you guys won't care about this, but the Guardians have given out some very interesting flyers, some spring training invites. They have invited 32-year-old Vince Velasquez and the former 14th overall pick way back in 2015, Colby Allard. They just got some flyers, and we know what the Guardians do. They could turn you and I into aces. So 32-year-old Vince Velasquez, come on down, buddy. He was last seen with the Pirates in 2023. He put up a 3.8 ERA. I'm actually excited to see what they can do with him. They also picked up Colby Allard, who again was a first rounder back in 2015. He's been a complete and utter bust. The reason why he keeps getting chances is because of that name. He's Colby Allard. He's 27 years old. He's going to get some looks. I mean, just look at what they did with Matthew Boyd. He put up like a 6 ERA the year before joining the Guardians. He goes to Cleveland, puts up a 2.2 ERA with 60 strikeouts and 51 innings as a Guardian. He was literally a top 5 pitcher in baseball down the stretch last year and the best pitcher in the postseason. Matthew Boyd. So that does it for today's recap. If you guys enjoyed or made it to this point in the video, do me a favor. It actually really helps out the channel. Leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new, send it to a few friends if you think that they would like these sort of videos, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day.